You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tina Meder, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Meder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go! Today I am ready to discuss so-called trend in aesthetic medicine and in cosmetology and cosmetic chemistry as well. And trends are something which become trendy, and sometimes this trend disappears. Faster or later, it happens with many of them. And as I work in this big, beautiful beauty industry since mid-90s, so it would be about 30 years, I've seen a lot of trends coming and going, and sometimes coming back again. We just finished the trade show, another one, and obviously when we are working on the trade show, we have a booth of the brand, a lot of people who are asking about trendy things. And what we've been asked this year, probably I should start from something which fortunately no one asked in this show, but even 3 months ago on the last show we participated, we've got this question: beef tallow. First of all, I couldn't believe beef tallow became a trend. It sounded like a joke, but about 1 year ago, I was contacted by really big media in the United States asking my opinion about the beef tallow application on the face. And apparently, that was a huge trend all around TikTok and media and some celebrities, and everyone suddenly started to apply this beef tallow on the face, and even some company sold, I don't know how many, 50,000 of jars filled with the beef tallow for their own firm. So anyone been speaking about it. And actually, about beef tallow, it's not even the question. For the people of my generation, and probably for people with my heritage, I am from the Northern Europe. Originally, I am Estonian. For people of my generation and people from the North, we knew beef tallow. It was a trend before you knew the word trend or even can spell aesthetics. So beef tallow, that's what our mothers applied on our faces in the days when it was really cold, when it had been freezing. And you know why? Because we didn't have anything else in 70s in Northern Europe, and especially in the countries in the USSR borders. So beef tallow been applied on the skin for centuries as all other types of animal fats or tallow to protect the skin. Because obviously it contains lipids, it contains fatty acids, it is fat. So it protects the skin at some point, because when you apply fat on the skin, it creates this protective layer. But what is wrong with beef tallow? First of all, it contains a very specific fatty acid, which many of them they are pro-inflammatory. So they can inflame the skin, not only soften and nourish it. And anyway, the nourishing effect, it's not superior to the effect of the modern moisturizers, because modern industrial moisturizer, even non-expensive and simplest one, they're much better. Also, these fatty acids, they are not very friendly to the human skin lipids, so they can dissolve them, they can damage skin barrier, and they can decrease skin barrier function. And if you lack other evidence, these fatty acids are not microbiome friendly. Human microbiome will not thrive on the beef tallow, and beef tallow is oxidizing very quickly. And if you are from my generation, and if you've been applied with beef tallow at least once in your life, you remember aroma. You never can forget it because it's very animal, it's very raw, it's unpleasant. And you know why it is so unpleasant? Because it starts oxidize almost immediately. So it's full of byproduct of the oxidation. And another aspect of this beef tallow trend, which really fascinates me, when I started to ask journalists why they're so excited about it, they responded then, Gen Z love beef tallow, it's natural, so we follow the trend of Gen Z. And I'm very sorry. Are we speaking about the same generation Z, which is so eco-conscious, which are caring so much about the animal cruelty, and who are looking for cruelty-free skincare? Because I have a surprise for you. Cows didn't donate this beef tallow. They've been killed to get it. It is an animal product. It is a part of the killed animal. And actually, we don't use product of animal sources in the skincare for many years. It is simply forbidden. If you check out legislation of European Parliament, you will see all product and ingredients of animal sources should be very specifically registered. And they are banned for cosmetic use. So I've been worried about it. And I've been speaking about it openly on socials, but suddenly it disappeared as fast as it came. I believe it was last autumn, 2024, and it was quite active during the winter time. People still asked us about it. Last time I heard this question in June, probably. Silence. Everyone forgot about it. That's the beauty of these trends. They can be forgotten. And I really hope that beef tallow will be forgotten forever as a cosmetic ingredient. But there's still a lot of trendy things. Living through all this trend, I remember very well this trend of, oh my God, everyone was quite hysterical about it. In each booth and each stand of the trade show, you'll see this famous word, nano. And a lot of cosmetic ingredients manufacturers started to offer this nano-sized material, nano-sized ingredients, because the whole idea of nano-sized materials was about the penetration of this ingredient. It's a kind of fair question when people are skeptical about skincare. A lot of people think that skincare doesn't penetrate into the skin at all. Actually, it is. And it's more difficult to stop skincare ingredients from the penetration than to obtain the deeper penetration of ingredients, because that's a simple rule. When an ingredient has a small size, and actually we know the number, so the size of ingredients should be 500 Dalton max. Everything smaller than 500 Dalton penetrates through stratum corneum, through epidermis, and can go until the dermis layer. If the size is larger than 500 Daltons, this ingredient stays on the surface. And nano-sized ingredients, they are really, really small. What is nano? Nano, it is a Greek word, mathematical term. Mathematicians, they love Greek words, right? Like medical doctors. And this nano means it's 10 in minus 9 step. So it's very, very small, like 0.000801. And these very small molecules, they can penetrate into the epidermis, into the dermis level, but apparently no one thought that they can go even further because they don't stop in the dermis. And first really worrying research was published almost immediately, the first year when this nano trend started, and it was published by L'Oreal, by the way, and it was really well done. It was a good deal of L'Oreal to publish this honestly because they did a lot of science about it. And the most popular nano-sized ingredients have been used in sunscreens because, especially mineral sunscreens based on the dioxide of titanium and zinc oxide, they are whitening the skin and they're quite uncomfortable. So the whole idea behind these nano-sized sun filters was based on if you'll be using nano-sized filters, nano-sized titanium or zinc, they will penetrate deeper into the epidermis and they will not create this whitening, uncomfortable look on the skin. And it's really penetrate deeper. It penetrated so deep that it was found in the spinal liquid of laboratory animals. And unfortunately, these laboratory animals, they died quickly after testing of these nano sun filters. But first, they've been paralyzed because apparently when nano-sized minerals, they are going through the bloodstream and cross to the nervous system, they are toxic. That's a metal intoxication, which is very dangerous. So this story about nano-sized sun filters was stopped almost immediately. And for some months later, people been still speaking about nanoproteins or nano plant extract or nano whatever. And actually it was such a rubbish because nanoproteins, what is a protein? Protein, it is a very long chain of amino acids. We call protein molecules which contain about hundreds of amino acids and more. So they are big. They cannot penetrate into the skin, so you cannot make nano from the macro world. So it's disappeared quite quickly, but the memory of this nano catastrophe, it is still with us. And when I visit the raw material conferences and raw material trade show, I see a lot of stands with a big red wording, non-nano. So now it sounds better. And people are asking, is it nano? Because now everyone is afraid of nano. Actually, nowadays it changed a bit because with new coverage and with new specific transport particles, once again, we are speaking about these nano-sized filters, but it is an absolutely new form. So in the manufacturing of these nano-sized filters, there are a lot of efforts to block their penetrations deeper than the stratum corneum. So it's still the hope to make sunscreens a little bit more comfortable. But obviously now when we understand the danger, we don't do it. Probably one of the most active trends now is so-called PDRN of salmon, or famous salmon DNA, which suddenly you see a lot of celebrities on social speaking about the benefit of this salmon DNA and how great it works for their skin, how it's rejuvenating or nourishing or creates a glass skin effect or whatever else. And once again, on the trade show, there are a lot of booths offering this PDRN treatments and PDRN creams and skincare. We don't do it, and I'm not planning to include PDRN of salmon in any of Medar formulations. And actually, when I see the PDRN in the advertisement and on the socials, my only question was, again, because it is not new. PDRN DNA of salmon was registered as a patented ingredient in 1980. And it was one of the first skincare ingredients launched by Croda Laboratory, which is amazing company, and they are producing and creating amazing new ingredients. But they registered DNA of salmon in 1996. And now suddenly it became popular. Tell me more about the horizon of planning. Sometimes you should wait for 20 years. And yes, in the mid of 90s, it sounded really great. And we've been using a lot of animal sources ingredients. And actually, it is not even the DNA of salmon raw. And it's not really the raw. It is salmon sperm, and DNA is really transformed to the fragments of polynucleotides of the DNA. So it's kind of fragmented and changed DNA of salmon sperms, which is used as an active ingredient because it has some biostimulating potential. Almost all amino acids have. That's why we are using amino acids as skincare ingredients. For example, we are using arginine in the mid-air skincare formulation for mature skin and for menopausal skin because it really helps to strengthen skin and it really helps to get this beautiful lifting effect. Fragments of nucleotides from the salmon sperm, they get this effect, so they improve the skin repair abilities, and it can stimulate the skin regeneration. And also it helps dry skin because it's nourishing. There are a lot of fatty acids in the fragments of these salmon sperms. Does it make salmon sperm, PDRN of salmon, any better than peptides? No. Peptides are much better because peptides, first of all, we understand the mechanism of action of each peptide, and now we have more than 600 peptides registered for cosmetic use. So we understand more than 600 mechanism of actions. We understand how each of peptides interact with each type of skin cells. We understand that they are absolutely safe. They are not going into the bloodstream. They are not interacting with any other types of cells. They don't have this overstimulating effect or whatever. So I will prefer peptides because I want to know what I do in the skin when I create the formulation. I am not really happy with the stories and it is stimulating largely. I want to know how it stimulates, what it stimulates, how long this stimulation effect will last, and how it will interact with all other ingredients. Is it better for the dry skin than organic oils? Because fatty acid, we can find this fatty acid in organic oils. We can create the blend of organic oils, helping to restore all types of deficiency in the skin. We can use skin-identical ceramides. We can use biotechnological ingredients. We can use lecithin or olive squalane or whatever you want to literally recreate the formula of perfectly young and protective human skin sebum. We don't really need to use salmon sperm for it. And another thing about the PDRN, yes, we lack of scientific evidence. Papers published on this subject really poor in evidence, and I'm trying to follow it because I'm curious, and I never found any kind of non-engaged commercially published research about PDRN. It is always producer or manufacturers who are sponsoring this research. But also, it's not only about the lack of scientific evidence, it's about our conscience as well. It's the same story as the beef tallow. If you care about the animal cruelty, you should not use skincare ingredients which are sourcing from animals. And to get this salmon sperm, the salmon should be killed. And how much of sperm is in one salmon? They're really few milliliters. So to create the recommended concentration of PDRN of salmon to get some efficiency in the skincare product is from 2 to 5%. So you should understand when you buy this 50 milliliters of cream with the PDRN on the salmon, that probably you understand 2 dead fish with it. Would be even more with injectables, and I will not start about injectables because the idea to inject the polynucleotides fragments of the DNA of the fish in your skin with an idea to rejuvenate your skin, I'm sorry, it's not scientific. It's what people do in the alchemy experiments in the 15th or 16th century. We are not here anymore. We are living in the world when the science progresses really. If you want to get something real, there are a lot of research about skin microbiomes, there are a lot of research about peptides, about prebiotics, probiotics, and growth factors at the end of the day. So I think that the trend waited 20 years to become a trend. And I don't think it will survive another 20 years as a trend. Another very high trend, it's a real hype about it, the exosomes. Exosomes are everywhere. This time I've been just counting that the trade show wasn't big. And I just went there and probably there've been 60, max 100 participants. And from this 100 of participants, there have been a few dozen of both announcing exosomes in the advertisement materials. And when you walk, it's quite funny because you see exosomes at right, exosomes at left. Here it's written in black, here it's written in red or in blue. And everyone is so proud about it. What are exosomes? And why I am skeptical about it? Because I am skeptical, honestly. Exosomes, they are transport particles used by any type of living being on the planet Earth in their body. There are exosomes traveling in the trees, exosomes traveling in plants, in flowers, in mushrooms, birds, fish, animals, and finally in us, human beings. So exosomes are very universal because our body sometimes needs to send packages from cell to cell. It's kind of UPS, DHL, post service, mailing service with different kind of materials. The question is, why you want to use these packages and why you want to hack this delivery without knowing what is in the parcel. There are two types of exosomes which are trendy now. And first type, it is human exosomes. And this one you should be very worried about. Actually, there are only 3 countries when these human type exosomes are not banned for now. They are not banned in Taiwan, South Korea, as I remember, and surprisingly in Australia. But in Australia, there's some specific administration control over the use of the human exosomes, but it is possible. It was repeatedly forbidden and not registered for any types of use in the United States by the FDA, despite dozens of years of research in medicine and in the pharmaceuticals. They're not registered for the use right now. For skincare, it's not registered. It will not be registered even as the dream. And it was repeatedly banned by China, which should just give you a little bit more information about how dangerous it is. Because ingredients banned in China, they should be very dangerous. Because China is more liberal in the registration of cosmetic ingredients until recently. But exosomes were never registered, and human exosomes, they are absolutely banned for use in China, as well as in the European Union, United States, Canada, and so on. Why they are banned for so many countries? Because human exosomes, first of all, we know that human exosomes are used by viruses. That's a parcel which transmits infection from cells to cells. And human exosomes, most of the time, they are coming from the umbilical blood. So that's blood of placenta after birth, donated by women who gave birth. And also, for me, it's also an ethical question because it doesn't sound right. Right? Use placenta material and umbilical blood of women who, for some unknown reason, signed the documentation to donate it for the cosmetic industry. So for me, it doesn't sound right at all. It really sounds wrong. And also, we don't know how healthy these women have been. Because in the documentation, they're always saying that these women completely healthy, they've been thoroughly tested. But I don't understand how it is possible to test women for all viruses known for humanity. And it is certainly impossible to test women for prion infections because we know so few about the prions. We know that they are dangerous and they can sleep in our body for dozens of years and wake up one day just revealing some very dangerous medical conditions. But we can prevent it. So that's also the question how we can use it, this umbilical blood. Also, our body uses exosomes not only for the transfer of infection. Exosomes are used by our body by immune system, so they can modulate immune reaction of our body. Yes, it can be anti-inflammatory, but also it can suppress the immune activity of our body, or it can hyperactivate our immune system, creating unexpected allergy, creating dermatitis, creating autoimmune condition at the same time. It is a well-known risk. It's mentioned in many papers published about it. And another thing, that's a horizontal DNA exchange. Because, yes, exosomes, they are used by our body for DNA transfer. Would you like to get DNA for someone else circulating in your body? I am not. I certainly will not want to get DNA from any other person circulating in my body because I don't know how dangerous it can be. And unfortunately, it also can be cancerogenic because metastases, they are traveling in our body from tissue to tissue, from area to area, also using exosomes. So if there are some mutated cells have been transplanted in your skin or on your skin, the most dangerous things, and these human exosomes, they are used for aesthetic injections, for some rejuvenation purposes. When I'm thinking about it, I just don't get it. It's really scientifically proven to be dangerous. And at least half of this danger we don't even understand properly. So human exosomes, it's a big no. You can say that I am a coward, but also you can see then all these public health organizations which are really caring about the public health and trying to protect people from unknown danger and from infections and everything else, they are cowards as well. So human exosomes, a big no. Animal exosomes, same thing. Absolutely. Everything what been told about human exosomes, it's applicable to the animal exosomes as well. And now that's another type of exosomes which is largely used now in the skincare formulations. They are plant-derived exosomes. And here we come from the tragedy to the comedy, because the use of animal and human exosomes can lead to the absolutely tragic consequences. But the use of plant-derived exosomes is pretty much harmless, but in the same time, it sounds so comic for me. When you understand what are exosomes, you will ask the same question that I am asked when I've seen it in the first time. But why? Each and every of plant extract which we are using in the skincare contains a lot of exosomes. That's impossible to take off exosomes from the plant extract, only if you do it on purpose. So when you have the cucumber or blueberry or citrus or aloe vera juice, which you are buying for $10 and apply on the sunburned skin without even thinking about it, okay, you are using aloe vera exosomes. There are a lot of exosomes of aloe vera helping you to repair your skin after it was damaged by the ultraviolet. Because exosomes, it's an absolutely natural and essential part of any type of plant extract. And yes, in the plant extract, we have a lot of active substances. For example, I love Centella asiatica. I love it very much. It is an amazing ingredient. We buy it in the Madagascar from one of the oldest plantations of Centella in the world. It was never been chemically treated. And why I am buying centella from there? Because centella contains very specific substances called asiatic acid and madicasoside. And maybe you heard about the madicasoside because now there are some products based on the madicasoside selectively. But all of them, they are transported in centella in the exosomes. So when we are using the centella extract, these have different exosomes. One type is filled with madicasoside, another type is filled with asiatic acid, and so on. When they are working all together, when they are traveling together on your skin, as a plant extract, you add to each of these ingredients the natural synergy of these active substances, because the Mother Nature creates everything on the planet, plants included, creating this synergy for purpose. A lot of plants, why plants have so many of antioxidants? Because antioxidants, they protect plants from the different type of external damage, including the air pollution and the ultraviolet. And when you apply this antioxidant on the skin, you get this synergetic effect. A lot of plants, they contain vitamin C, traveling in plants in the exosomes, transporting this vitamin C to the area when vitamin C is needed by plants. But vitamin C in the pure form and vitamin C in the plant extract, they have different kind of action. And most of the time, this plant synergy, it is amazing. And it works really great for the skin. Sometimes we're just trying to do it more selectively, and so we just derive one or two substances from the plant extract. For example, we derive escin from the horse chestnut extract because it interacts selectively with venous vessels, strengthening the venous wall. And so escin is used in the pharmacology for the varicose veins treatment or for hemorrhoids treatment. Sometimes we do it because other part of the plant can be irritating or overstimulating for the skin. So sometimes there are some reasons. But just derive exosomes to be able to say exosomes, it doesn't sound right because you already use them. And the first argument why plants exosomes are better than plant extracts, so you can derive exosomes containing some specific active molecules from one plant and create solution which is be more concentrated in this substance than this or that plant extract. Okay, it is an argument, but still it's lack of scientific evidence, then it will work better. And to add a little bit of information to the story, it is very, very difficult to extract exosomes from any kind of plant extract without damaging them. So 90% of cosmetic ingredients, they are registered as exosome-like particles. So they are specific transport particles which are created artificially. They are similar to the plant exosomes, and just scientists, they take some active substances and they fill these transport particles with these substances and use them for this or that cosmetic purpose. And sometimes it's so funny. I remember one of the last trade shows, they've been very nice aesthetic nurse, which we discussed different things during the show, including exosome strand. And she came and she showed me the box of the new cosmetic product, which she bought, I believe, for $200 or $250. And in this box, they've been 4 small vials, each by 5 milliliters. And it was called in the big red letter, Exosomes extract. And in the label, as you know, we are all obliged to put what we call INCI. So all ingredients named officially. INCI, it is International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients, which each ingredients used in the skincare should be registered. And so in this nomenclature, this exosome extract, I started to read it and I started to laugh because it's impossible to resist, because they even been no exosomes in this product. They've been cucumber and aloe. And oh my God, like French people say, chapeau. We take out the hat to people who can market cucumber with aloe for $250 for 20 milliliters of this solution, just naming them exosomes. So for me, it's kind of comedy, and this trend, I don't believe that it will stay for a long time. And now there are a lot of scientists and dermatologists who are really stupefied by this trend. It just recently, I've been listening to one of my favorite cosmetic chemists on social. She has an amazing Instagram account. It's about cosmetic lab muffin. And she invited one American dermatologist. And this doctor, she was really surprised by this trend. And she was like, I don't get it. Exosomes, first of all, they are huge. They cannot penetrate into the skin. They're so much bigger than 500 Dalton. Also, exosomes, they're everywhere. They're already in the plants. Why you need it? And so you see the dermatologists are very skeptical. Scientists are extremely skeptical about this trend. But marketologists, they love it. So it's hardly advertised. But I don't think it's really a long-lasting trend. And actually speaking about the trend, I hoped so much 20 years ago, when I started to work on my first formulation based on peptides and probiotics, then peptides will be the trend, because peptides absolutely worth it. Peptides being a revolution, it's still revolutionary. They are innovative, highly efficient, scientifically proven to be efficient and safe, and they're amazingly predictable. We understand how to use them, and they really change the whole landscape of the skincare industry. Same about prebiotics, same about probiotics, same about biofermented ingredients or plant-derived stem cells, which actually, by the way, plant-derived stem cells, they're all so highly concentrated in natural exosomes. They're literally the concentrated solution of natural exosomes in stem cells. And they're really worth it to become a trend. But for some reasons, peptides never been a real trend. Only now people start to speak about it, but instead they're still speaking more about exosomes. And I really want people to speak about peptides, speak about prebiotics, probiotics, microbiome-supporting skincare, because when we create skincare based on the real scientific evidence and not on the hype or trends, we work for the active longevity of the skin and our body. We healthify the skin and not beautify it. And maybe it is not so commercial, and maybe this hype and trends are really good for the marketing. But trends come and go, and the science stays. If you are interested, if you want to discuss any other trends, please let me know. Leave a comment on the YouTube or in the other podcast platform when you are listening to this episode, or just go to our socials, Midder Beauty Instagram account or my personal account, Dr. Tina Midder. It would be great to discuss it. It can be so fun. Thank you for joining us today on the Midder Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@midderbeauty.com, and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit midderbeauty.com and discover Midder Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.